everybody, Christina here from Crafty Stamp Co. I'm going to be showing you the process that I went through to make the bookmark for the fall and winter coffee lovers blog hop going on between November 7th and November 14th. I'll have the description down below for you because you'll definitely want to hop along. There's lots of prizes from different super sponsors, which we are one of them, and we're very honored to be one. I'm going to be using the fall weather paper from the November Crafty Crew Kit. It's no longer available right now, but it will be in the coming months of 2026. So this is the Lots of Knots stencil that I dry embossed on some Ivory cardstock that I absolutely love. And then we have some ribbon that I'm going to be using. And this is Fall Weather Meadow. She's so cute. I love her to death. I colored her a couple weeks ago on a live, and I will have that link for you down below if you want to see how I colored her. I'm going to start out with this orange paper. It looks kind of knitted, which I really enjoy. And I was going to use this brown paper. It's called Cinnamon, but after putting it all together and everything, I just really was not digging it, and I really wanted that orange paper to come through because I matched her pants to it. So I decided not to use that piece and go with some other pieces. Plus I want these trees to show. So that's where I went ahead and just ditched the brown paper. So I'm going to cut this piece down to 3 inches. It is already 6 inches. All of our paper is 6 by 6. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that piece down to 3 inches. And then to make this piece, the dry embossed piece, fit, I went ahead and cut that down to 5 3/4. And it's also, the width is 2 3/4. And I'll have all my measurements for you down below. So the trees, I'm actually going to cut down to 7/8 of an inch and leave them at 6 inches. I'm also going to be cutting down some of the other pattern paper, like these coffee cups that have the blue in them. And I'm also going to be doing the pumpkins with the book on it, that paper. And I'm going to cut those at 2 inches wide for now. I will go back later and cut them at 3 inches long. So I'm just getting everything kind of put together and seeing what I want to do. Now I'm going to use my corner rounder at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to round the corners of the vanilla cardstock, and then I'm also going to round the corners of the orange pattern paper. So now I'm just going to decide how I want to put everything together. And I don't want to put all of it together just yet because I do have that ribbon that I want to put on as well. I tend to stage my stuff or lay it all out and put it together the way that I want before I nail it all down. So now I'm cutting these down to 3 inches tall. And I figured that they need kind of a background, and I really like that orange. So I'm going to cut that orange to 3 1/8 by 2 1/8. And I'm trying to use just that one piece of paper, but I came up a little short. So I'm looking to see if I can do anything. And then I realize with my Fall Weather Meadow on there, no one's gonna see the bottom half of that piece anyways. So I really don't need that piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this longer piece on. This is the 7/8 inch wide with just the trees. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my vanilla piece. And then here is the ribbon. And I want the ribbon to go over everything. So that's why I'm kind of holding off on everything at first. So now I'm just going to put I put the adhesive just on the back. That way I could slip things underneath the ribbon as needed. And now I'm going to go ahead and put that vanilla piece onto the orange. And you can see that the trees line up to the orange border, which is what I had planned on. So now to put some adhesive onto these, the patterned paper. And I'm just putting those down with some mono adhesive. And I kind of want those at an angle. I don't want them completely off of the bookmark, but I still want them there. And you can see I'm just tucking that piece behind the ribbon to see what it would look like and whether or not I want it on the top or on the bottom. I did want it on the ribbon to go over the top, but you can see that I eventually decided that I just wanted it to go underneath. And I did that because I didn't want to lose the pumpkins with the books. I still wanted to see everything. So now that I've figured out what I want to do, and I've decided that I can't see my trees as much as I wanted, and that's the nice thing about this paper is you can just pull it up if you want and then really push it down once you're ready. And I just moved that over. And now I am happy with the way everything is, so I can still see the trees behind as well. You can't have fall without the trees, right? So I'm going to use some 3D foam, and I'm going to put the 3D foam onto the back of the first little bit that I want down, the pattern paper at the top. And I'm just putting a couple of pieces on, not a whole lot because this is a bookmark. And I'm going to put that piece down first. But the pumpkin with the book patterned, I'm only going to put it on the bottom half because I want it to just lay flat on top of the coffee cups. And then I'm just going to put some mono adhesive at the top so that it will stick. So now some 3D foam for Fall Weather Meadow. And then I'll also put some 3D foam on the book as well. But I'm going to double the book one up because I want the book to look as if it's in front of Fall Weather Meadow, but I want to give it a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to put her off to the side so that I can still see all the things in the pattern paper and just everything that I want to be able to see on the bookmark because I love the pattern paper. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this up just one more layer. Like I said, I'm going to put 2 layers of 3D foam on the book. And I'm going to put that right in front of her so that she can sip her coffee and read her book. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a hole in the top now that I have all the layers where I want them. I'm using my Crocodile to put a hole in the top so I can put the ribbon through. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that orange gingham ribbon and I'm going to cut a little bit off and then I'm going to stick it through the hole, but I'm not going to tie it. I'm actually going to tie it with some baker's twine instead. I don't know what it is about adding the baker's twine around it instead of just, doing the whole loop thing. and just having the one piece of ribbon. I just like the little added fun using the baker's twine to hold that closed up there and keep the ribbon on. So just tying a little bow. And now we're going to work on our sentiment after I get these snipped off. And the sentiment I'm using actually it's all towered into one piece. And you can see I'm trying to see how it's going to work and if it's going to work at first. And then I decide I'm just going to put it on as a little flag. So I'm going to cut some of that vanilla paper off, just a strip of it. And again, it's not going to work with the way the sentiment is. I've already tried it, so now I'm stamping it off on some paper. So just some scratch paper so that I can pull the sentiment apart and have it on the flag the way that I want it. So I'm going to first I'm just rubbing it off there, and I'm going to be using just the top part of the sentiment that says happiness is a hot mug. So I'm just stamping half of the stamp, and then I'm going to place it onto the flag, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that part off so that hopefully I won't get a whole bunch of black ink on the rest of the flag. And I'm just kind of wiping it off and cleaning it. Sorry that I went off camera. Now I'm going to use the bottom half of the sentiment that says on a chilly day. And I'm just going to put that at the end of where I want my little flag to be, and I'm wiping off any excess, hoping that I don't get a whole lot of that on the flag. I did actually get some on the flag, but because I made it wider than what it needed to be for those just in case purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just trim that down. And it's okay that it's crooked because I'm going to be trimming the back half of it off too, so that's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut in the middle, and then I'm going to cut up at an angle towards the middle to make the little flag. And we can see I'm not quite very even today, but that's all right. So I'm going to move this around a little bit, but I ultimately I decide to use the pattern paper to make the 2 extra flags to go with this. And the only thing that I did was I looked to see what I wanted, and then I was able to trim everything down. And you can see the process and the wheels moving here. I wanted to make sure to get those pumpkins with the book, and then I just cut it in half so that I could also have the orange piece as well. And I'm going to go ahead and make those into flags now as well. And then after I do this part, I'm going to put them all together with a little something that my friend Kimberly does and loves, which is using her stapler, which I used to do years ago, but I'm actually falling back in love with it thanks to my friend Kimberly. So just putting those flags the way that I want them to look. And I'm putting a little bit of glue down just because I don't want them to move when I staple them together. I have a really bad habit of going to staple something and then my fingers slip or something happens and then it doesn't staple right and I'm upset and now there's holes everywhere because I have to take the staples out. So I tend to glue things at first just to make sure they're going to stay where I want them to stay. And then I use the stapler just for some added little embellishment because I think it looks cute and fun. So just deciding where I want the sentiment to go. And this is ultimately where I put the sentiment. And now you can see I'm just going to go ahead and staple that right onto the bookmark, which is a lot of fun. So this is the bookmark. I did add the blue little rhinestones afterwards. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see yours. Have fun on the blog hop. See you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching.